This video is part 2 of my review on Matt Giannini and his Market Moves course and service. I have decided to break this review down into separate parts. Part 1 was the last video and was mainly an introduction on who I was reviewing. This video, part 2, will mainly cover the $695 course I signed up for called Option Trading Domination. I took this course because it looked like the most sophisticated options course that Matt had to offer. When I first saw the price, I assumed the course was pretty expensive relative to its value. When I saw what was in the contents and then compared it to the price. Now, here are some of the topics within the course that stood out to me. Matt talks about selling options super risk-free. His number one criteria was to pick a stock based on a company that he would not mind owning, because a good company will be around 50 years from now. In the same section, he picks Uber, a company that's not profitable, so I'm not sure that it's a good company to own. Another one he picked was Airbnb, and again, this company had its problems during the pandemic. So I guess what I'm saying is that picking a good stock can be a little more difficult than what Matt kind of leads on to. So it can be super risk-free when buying shares of a certain company. I think that's interesting. He goes on to say that he's also writing covered calls. And the problem with this strategy is that you cap your upside and you may be better off just buying and holding. To get more details, you can see my videos on my series called Are Options a Scam? I did a section on covered calls, and one problem with covered calls, for example, would be using the S&P 500 if you miss the top up moves of the top 20 days from January 4th, 1999 to December 31st, 2018, your long portfolio would actually be down, and that's nearly a 20-year holding period. And that's just 20 days that you missed. So selling calls on your stock is creating this scenario where you won't necessarily be anticipating when the stock moves significantly higher. If selling covered calls was a risk-free option selling strategy, everyone would be making a killing doing it. But the bottom line is, I don't think it's a very good long-term strategy to use. Now, Matt goes on to talk about his directional bias. Based on some of his videos, he believes he can pick a direction in a stock. He says options are also directional plays. And it looks like he has not figured out a good market neutral strategy and is dependent on picking the right direction to be profitable. When it comes to money management, he recommends going long options, which are a low probability trade. He recommends using 5 to 20% of your capital per trade, and that's a lot of capital to be used per trade, in my opinion. Also, on the subject of delta, he talks about how delta related to the amount of the options move in relation to the underlying move, but he never mentions how they also represent probabilities. The probability concept is important because when you go long an option, you want to know the odds that you have of actually making money. Now, looking at one of the videos on spreads, I like the fact that he uses an options risk graph in order to explain the options position. So far, every play I've seen is directional, even with spreads. And the information on the option spreads has a risk graph, but the other stuff is all information, in my opinion, that you can get for free at Tasty Trade. I could keep going on about this basic stuff. I mean, that took up 98% of the course, but I prefer to get to the proprietary portion. You know, the 3 secret trades. So secret trade number 1. The first thing I notice is it is directional. And basically, you're day trading with options, and you're using the most expensive options to do it. Now, Matt says only use stocks with big momentum, but those are also the ones with the most vega and with the options that are the most costly. Now, there are ways that he kind of gets around that a little bit, but there are no black and white rules on entry. He says you can make money if you know when to get in and out. And he talks about locking in profit without any good black and white rules. He also has some rules on how to manage the trade once you get in. The thing is, these trades are being placed on a very low probability options. And I will be asking about his success rate with real money on this trade. Now, secret trade number 2. If you're up money, you can lock in profits or add credit to secret trade number 1. So again, this is dependent on placing low probability trades and being correct with a direction. Now, secret trade number 3. It's about getting more directional and saying you can make more money, but it doesn't mention you can also lose more money doing this. Basically, all 3 strategies are totally dependent on picking the right direction with a low probability trade. In my opinion, 0 edge. In fact, taking the opposite trade would contain more edge. I've seen other courses where the opposite approach is taken in order to extract that edge. So overall, these 3 secret strategies, in my opinion, don't really carry much value. Now, if you like how Matt explains concepts and can relate to his way of thinking, then you should spend the money and learn some of the basics on options. In my opinion, you can learn this information for a lot less money, more like free at Tasty Trade, but this is only my opinion. Now, as far as the secret trades, I would say they are something different, so I will give him that. But the main question is, can you make money trading them? If you can, I'm sure Matt is making money with them. So I went to ask Matt on his Discord channel about these trades. Now, I have to give Matt a ton of credit here because I was able to ask him questions directly and he answered them. When I ask other instructors, just as a whole, in general, they would rarely answer my questions. And when the questions got tough, they would totally ignore me. Now, Matt, on the other hand, was a stand-up guy, and he answered my questions. When I asked Matt how his results were when trading the 3 secret trades, he said he does not trade those trades in his portfolio. So I'll just let you kind of make your own opinion about the facts and my opinion that I just outlaid here. Now, after going through the course, I wanted more. I wanted to find a way to see if Matt is a profitable trader. So I did some deeper digging and I found his Discord service. 30 days of this service came along with the course that I paid for. Discord is like Slack in that it is like a message board where Matt and his mods or employees can communicate ideas and trades with the subscribers. Now, in the next video, I will explain how the Discord service provided much more information about how Matt trades and how to track his performance. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. Thanks.